The Haiti gang leader is now calling for national dialogue with the government in a move that will help the country cut down on the ongoing unlawlessness. Cherizier, who is best known as Barbecue, criticized Prime Minister Gary Conil, accusing him of not opening dialogue with the G9 family and the alliance that he represents. Let's focus on the solution. The real solution is a national dialogue where every Haitian, without discrimination, has a right to speak. And that's what the mafia doesn't want. They don't wish dialogue because they want to continue their war. They don't want dialogue because they don't want peace. We want dialogue because we don't want war.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, there is a political unrest in Haiti, and we know that the UN has intervened and has sent troops through Jamaica, Kenya, Benin, Togo, and Bangladesh. Now, this crisis has affected people's lives, and they are trying to maintain and bring it back to normal. So in this case, we've had the gangs that have been running these cities and major towns in Haiti. And there is a very big fight between these troops by the UN and these gangs. So let's watch this video, then have a quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yo, Teriel. Pas aller chez Salou dans des Teriel. Aller chez Salou. Gaz yo même là, il était gaz. Mais ça m'a fait pour filmer avant était gaz ça mauvais. Ouais, j'aime. Gaz, ouais, ne m'a fait la rime était, ouais, regarde m'boué. Ouais. Je m'a bailler de l'eau. Ouais. Était. Teriel, pas aller ça qu'on a bouche dans des ça qui vivent ensemble dans des tétés. N'a pas j'aime tout vivre ensemble non. Y a pas opération dans base gain pas gagner. Yo attaqué la mort 100 jours pour contre lui, yo attaqué pour contre moi, yo attaqué Gressier, yo attaqué toute base yo. Est-ce que ouais sur toute base yo va lever ensemble tété. Fallait qu'on ka goumer. Hein? Tété ouais monte vidéo dans Gaza on se prend là. On pays difficile, on compte men abay. On selvier tété. Paul Boucané. Paul Boucané toujours tande. Paul Boucané pas jamais pas tande. Bah on t'a doté mon cher, bah mention chez Salou et mon plus beau qui m'a vendu. On fait une analyse quand même. Mon chez Salou et mon fait une analyse. Mais moi vendre pas bon même, OK? Nous ça l'est déjà mais grand monde non. OK tété. Boy, on voit ces vidéos ça ba toujours. Aujourd'hui, pour quantité d'armes qui gagnent dans le pays, pas un sérieux un gouvernement qui a fait si ou pas une entente avec le groupe armé. Quelle était force multinationale, quelle était n'importe force étrangère qui vient dans le pays. C'est un génocide de la vie. Défendre droit nous et que nous sommes capables de dire OK n'a chita et nous fait partie de solutions qu'on a ensemble continuer bailler solution pour payer la paix. Mais tout autant nous pas sous table là, payer ça pas jamais paix.
Inside his territory, despite the poverty, life is relatively peaceful and organised. Unlike in much of Port-au-Prince, queues for food barbecue gets brought in are orderly. Usually it's chaos. But here people wait knowing that there are enough supplies for the whole community. And this is a source of barbecue's strength. To the outside world he may be a gangster, but here he's a sort of Robin Hood.
Well, we're right in the heart of barbecue's gangland territory, and I have to say the atmosphere here is very different to large parts of the rest of Port-au-Prince. It's much more chilled, much more relaxed. There's aid distribution, it's not chaotic. What the sense you get from this is that people feel safe inside here. The battlefield is outside the barricades, which is over there. Here, this is much more like a normal town, if you like.
Watched on by his well-armed and battle-hardened soldiers, Barbecue says that plans for an international force led by Kenya to impose peace in Port-au-Prince will lead to more violence, whoever is in charge of it.
The last time we met, you said if a foreign intervention was to happen here, poor people would die in the fighting. There is talk of it being Kenyans coming. Could you do business with them?
Si Kenya yo vini, premièrement, yo va venir faire massacre dans quartier populaire parce que oligarques yo avec politiciens yo pral orienter yo vers quartier populaire sous prétexte que y a vinn décide tirer bandit, sous prétexte que y a vinn décide tirer gang, yo pral entrer dans quartier populaire yo et que pour venir faire massacre. À ce moment-là, nous-mêmes qui gen zam, nous ne pouvons pas quitter ça. Mais je dis à gon bagay qui ont classe évolué. Je dis depuis militaire kenyan yo rentré ou bien policier kenyan yo whatever, l'autre policier qui entré, nous considéré comme des agresseurs. Nous considéré comme des envahisseurs et je dis à nous pas pour collaborer avec aucun envahisseur, aucun agresseur qui vient sortir pour passer indépendance pays nous en papier. Nous goumé contre n'importe façon.
The road Barbecue now controls is all but deserted. The signs of battle, the burnt-out cars and the deserted buildings are the visual signs of uprooted families who've been forced to flee in their tens of thousands. He says he's trying to rein in the more violent gangs. He says they need to change their ways or risk losing their revolution.
Vivre ensemble son leadership collectif lié. Et moi pas qu'à utiliser la force contre monsieur.
Now, people have been talking about the crime that is in Haiti right now, and many people are talking about the situation which has seen political unrest and the gangs taking over the major cities and major towns in Haiti. Now, many people do not have the absolute idea of whatever transpired to this. And there are a lot of speculations and about a lot of stereotypes built around this topic and about this situation. Now, the political unrest in Haiti started years back. It's now around 40 years since they started experiencing this. Now, apart from that, there is high cost of living, and that's whatever we've seen the gang leader, Barbecue, and other people trying to fight for. But in this fight, so many people are losing their livelihoods, and people are losing their lives, which is not a good thing. That's why we've seen the UN has come out with a peacekeeping mission, which has seen countries like Kenya and Jamaica, Bangladesh, Togo, and many other countries around the globe joining hands to facilitate a peacekeeping mission. Now, this peacekeeping mission is just to ensure that peace is restored in Haiti. But the question is, who is responsible for the crisis in Haiti? Who really should be asked questions about whatever is happening in Haiti? So there are so many things that we should actually learn from whatever is happening in Haiti. People are just talking, but do you actually have an idea before criticizing maybe the gang leader or criticizing the government that are sending their people or their troops to Haiti? Now, the major thing that is happening in Haiti is bad leadership. And there were a lot of puppets in Haiti before all this mess began. And as I was going through in and out and learning so many things about the history of this country, I came to realize that a Haitian gang leader, Barbecue, was in the police force. So he knows so many things about this government. He knows so many things about these people. So he came out because he saw there were so many problems. There are so many atrocities. Just a few months ago, so many people were displaced by an earthquake in Haiti. And so many others lost their lives. So many people are unemployed. So many people cannot afford food. I mean, basic commodities that a human being needs to survive. So such like things have pushed for rebellion against the government. But the question is, who is really responsible for all these atrocities that are happening or are facing Haiti? Now, many other people argue out that the West has played a big role in making sure Haiti is so unstable. But you might ask yourself, if um, the Western countries have a hand in whatever is happening in Haiti, then why are they so obsessed in a peacekeeping mission? That's the question. Then, if actually Barbecue and the rest of the gang leaders are really fighting for whatever is right, why should they abduct or kill people? Now, there are so many other questions to be asked about this, but in real sense, there is a lot that needs to be done. One, I do agree that the Western countries have always played a big role in making sure the black countries remain unstable and they can't rule themselves out. So in this case, we no longer have a choice than to embed and maybe anchor our trust on them. And when this happens, they can do whatever they want with us because they have the political, economic, and social powers. The muscles to control our economy. And for these reasons, that's why we have so many puppet leaders. And just not puppet leaders. These puppet leaders have actually led us into so many big debts that they cannot even account for. So these are the situations that are facing black countries. Now, go to most black countries. These people pay a lot of taxes. But where these taxes go to remains a mystery because they can't even explain where the taxes go to. We've been paying taxes year after year, each year, but we cannot even account whatever our taxes do. All that we see is opulence, luxurious life, and this is whatever is pushing so many people to be rebellious against their government. Now come to Africa. Just in the last 2 months, we've had around 8 countries where Gen Zs led protest to demand good, better leadership and maybe good governance. And in this case, we are talking about good governance. It's just a matter of corruption. The West have always stood for corruption because under corruption, that's where they survive. Under chaos, that's why they thrive well. So in this case, I'm here to believe that the people of Haiti will find a very quick solution to whatever problem is facing them right now, because things have been happening here and there, and people are even lacking trust. Just the last time I checked, Haiti does not have a stable government. It has a prime minister, yes, but the prime minister cannot even make the decisions for the country. The decisions are made at the UN, the United Nations. Even the peacekeeping mission was the United Nations agenda. Like it was, they're the one who propelled it. They pushed for it. And the prime minister had no otherwise just to say yes. So in this case, people deserve better leadership, and the leaders we elect actually have a mandate. I repeat that, to report back to us. And when there is a problem, it's better when they communicate back to the people who voted them in or to the people who they serve. I know not everyone in government was elected, but everyone in government works for the citizens of those countries. You do not work for that flag, you work for the people, because if that country could not be having people, then that flag could be useless. If that country was not having people, then the name Haiti could be useless, or Jamaica or Kenya or any other country. So it's better when the leaders are very accountable. And just to summarize this, there have been so many cases. Now go to Western Africa, see Benin, Togo, all these countries have had crisis before, and some of them still have crisis, and it is majorly and highly attributed to the Western countries, and that country is France. France has played a big role in making sure that some of its colonies have never had peace or full independence since then. Independence is just but a name. You have a president who reports to Macron or to the government of France and so many other governments that belong to the Western countries. So it is high time we realize that however much we're fighting for our rights, but it's much bigger than whatever we think. All these people who we elect, they don't have that sovereign power you think they do. They report to these world leaders that you know. And for any major decision that is made in your country, they must consult from the outside powers. This is whatever our grandparents fought. This is whatever they were against. Where is our sovereign powers? Our sovereignty is gone, and we are not independent anymore. Neocolonialism playing a big role in these modern days. So, brothers and sisters, however much they might say barbecue is under arrest or is maybe surrendering or whatever, the question remains, do all these groups from Kenya, Togo, Bangladesh, Jamaica have a permanent solution to the atrocities or problems the people of Haiti are going through, or it's just a temporary solution whereby barbecue stops advocating for whatever he's advocating for? Then there is peace, but the people still suffer from hunger. The people still can't access clean water. They can't access good hospitals, and the problems still go on. Elections are held. They elect leaders who they think maybe they are going there to represent them. Just later to learn that these people, they had no interest, their interests at heart. They are there to serve the Western leaders. So it is high time we actually bring our black countries to order, and I would love for Jamaica and any other Caribbean country to offer maybe moral support and maybe financial support to the people of Haiti in this hard time. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. I appreciate so much. One love.